What we're going to talk about now is presentation. I'm going to give you a dirty little secret of the red dot sight. Once we get past presentation, and when I say presentation, not just from the holster, but it could be after a manipulation, it could be after a reload. Because after any of those activities, you've got to present the gun to the target. Correct? Right, so it's all presentation. Once you get the presentation down, where the dot is always there for you, it's a pistol craft class. That's really the only big difference. It's not all that remarkable. Now, maybe it was your parents that told you, maybe it was an elementary school gym teacher, but somebody probably explained to you hand-eye coordination and explained to you that you have the ability to point at things. Right? I mean, and let's face it, some people have greater hand-eye coordination than others. But every one of you, and I'm talking about the target on the wall right there, just to give me a frame of reference. I can point right at that target. I have no doubt that my finger is pointed in that general direction. Would you all agree with that? Absolutely. What the problem is that I don't know exactly where my finger is pointed. I know it's in that general direction, but if a projectile came out of it, I really don't know where it would hit. And when it comes to shooting for our lives, we want to know where the bullet's going to hit, don't we? Which is the reason we have a sighting device on the gun. Because all the sight does is tell you where the muzzle's pointed. So even if you get the sight on the target where you want it, if you do something like this, if you snatch it, smack it, do whatever, it just takes the sight off the target. So it's not a guidance system. It just tells you where the muzzle's pointed, right? Okay, so that being the case, when I present the gun up there to the target, we all present it up there fast because we like fast. So we shove it up there. And then we get up there and the dot's not in the window. That's the problem, right? Because we always want the dot to be in the window. Well, we don't have any peripheral vision like we would on an iron sight. We don't have all that area. We have to get that dot in this very defined location, which, what would you say? About an inch square, maybe a little less. So it has to be very specific in how we present it to the target. Because when we put it up there, we want the dot to be there. And when it's not, induces just a little bit of panic in us, doesn't it? So what do we start doing? It's not there, so we start going. Trying to get it in that window, and we actually trade locations. If it was over here, suddenly we shoot it over here, and then it's not there, so we shoot it back over here. Up this way, down that way, back and forth. Right? We turn it into a comet. Well, think about this for a minute. If I push it up there, and it's not in the window, do you think it's sitting way over here? No, it's right on the edge of that window. It's right there. It's just not in the window, but it's just off to the side, or it's off to the top, or it's off to the bottom. All you've got to do is refine its location. Are you following me so far? Okay, good. So the idea that we start suddenly shooting it back and forth is ill-advised. It's going to require a certain amount of control on our part to make us do this. But you've got to refine the sight. You're basically trying to center it. Now, a lot of the other instructors out there will talk about, well, you just use your pinky because it's going to be coming from the top. Not always. Not always. Why do I say that? Because I'm teaching a combative application. If you're always standing here and you come up and you're always in an upright position, there can be an argument made for it's always going to come from the top. But what if now I'm suddenly down on my knee and I'm leaning out like this? Or I'm sitting here like this, or I'm back here like that, or heaven forbid I'm laying over top of it like this. Those are the kind of positions you may be in a fight. Well, why would you be on the ground? You slipped and fell. You tripped. That's the combative application. You may not get to decide where you are when you start the fight. You may be leaning out the window of a car. Is it always going to be coming from the top? That being the case? Yeah, so you're starting to see this now? It's not always going to be coming from the top. It could be coming from any direction. So it's not just lowering the muzzle, lowering the muzzle, lowering the muzzle. It's centering the dot. How do we do that? So this was the part that was so readily apparent to us. You guys don't, because you've been in the class before, right?
Well, you mentioned it in
okay. Think about what we're doing here. It could be coming from any direction, but it's just off to the side. So we're just moving the muzzle a little bit. We're literally moving the muzzle just a little bit. So I come up here like this, and it's high. Did you see what I just did? What if it's off to the side? What if it's low? All you have to do is move it just a little bit. So all you do is from the wrists forward, you just tighten your hand. What does that do? It applies pressure all the way around and forward. So if the dot's over here, it brings it this way. If it's down here, it brings it up. If it's high, it brings it down. Because that 360-degree wrap. Because remember what your hands are doing. Now, I should make a caveat. I'm making the assumption, I know what assume means. I'm making the assumption that you've got a good grip, that you have built a good solid grip. You just didn't slap your hands together. But if you've built a good grip on this pistol, the support hand's going to be high in the tang. It's going to be applying pressure from front to back. The support hand is going to be applying pressure from side to side. So you see what I got? As I squeeze this hand, the muzzle's coming down. As I squeeze this hand, it's centering to the center. So if I do this, all at the same time, it will bring the dot to the center of the screen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring you guys down here on the line, and I'm going to prove that to you. Okay? So let's go on down. Okay, so what I want you is about mid-draw stroke. Gun comes up, starts to turn towards the target. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to run that gun out there like you normally would. But, caveat, if the dot is not there, do not try to find it. Don't start panicking. Just stop for a second. Okay? Just stay where you're at. If the dot's there, good. But if it's not, just stop for a second. All right? Ready? Push. Are you there? If you're not, slowly and methodically move it around and see where it comes from. And when you do that, see how little you had to move the optic to center. You see that? All right, bring the gun back in again and then do it again. Ready? Push. If it's not there, slowly, methodically see where it appears from. Where'd it come from? Top?
First down.
Huh?
First down.
The first time it came from the top, where'd it come from the second time?
It was centered the second time.
Okay, so it's not always the top, is it? It's not always the top. Okay. Did you notice, though, when you had to refine it, that it didn't take very much? It's just a little bit. So do it a couple more times and try that. And if it's not there, see where it comes from. All right, now, go ahead and put it out there and deliberately hide it to wherever you had to bring it from, whether it was high or to the side. Go ahead and do that. And then disappear it high or to the left, whatever it was. Now, all I want you to do from the wrist forward is tighten both your hands. Is it there?
It is.
Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to shoot it out there and tighten up and see where it's at. What if you're right here and you tighten up? See what happens. Go ahead.
Every time.
What did
Okay,
you
now,
say?
what I
He
want
was
you to
there
do now
every
is
time.
try this. I'm going to keep my slide lock open. Stand here like this, and just put your hands on the bottom of it like you're just getting ready to do a tack rack. And you go. And see where the dot is. Try that. Was it there for you?
What?
If it wasn't there, all you had to do was tighten your hands, didn't you? Remember, you're only moving it about this far. The biggest problem is not centering it, it's over traveling the site. So keep in mind in your presentation, let's say you're doing a reload. Try that, simulate that, and put it out there. Go ahead and do that. If it's not there, just tighten down. But again, you have to have built a good grip. If you just slap your hands together or something like this, it's not going to work for you. You've got to be high on the grip tang. You've got to insert the hand properly on the side, front to back, side to side. It'll center it up. And when I say center it up, I don't mean it'll go directly to the center of the window, but it'll come in enough that you can see it. As we're going to show you later in the class, it doesn't have to be right in the middle. It can be up in the corner of the window. If you can see the dot, put it on the target, press the trigger, it's on. Which is kind of nice because it doesn't have to be lined up right in the rear sight window like iron sights do. All you have to do is see it, superimpose it, press trigger. That's it. That's all it takes to do it. Now, combatively. Mike, can I borrow you? Do you have any objections to getting on the floor? All right, everybody step back. Mike, come here. Leave the slide locked open. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and just take a kneeling position. Okay, present it. Okay, did you have trouble getting it there? All right, what I want you to do now is I want you to get down in the double kneeling position. Okay, lean out to the left like you're coming out around cover. Any trouble centering it? All you gotta do is tighten it. Lean out to the right. Okay? All right? Center it up. Now, what I want you to do is lay back in a supine position. All right? Does it center up okay for you? Take it off. Take it off deliberately. Take off the dot. One left, right, right. Tighten it up. Does it center? Yes. Yeah, okay. Now, go ahead and get up into a seated position. All right? Center it up. Now what I want you to do is I want you to lay on your right side like you're getting behind the tire of a car and you're shooting underneath the vehicle. Take it off to the side, left, right, center it up. Can you do it?
Yep.
All you got to do is tighten up.
Right.
Go to the other shoulder, do the same thing.
You can even get lower. You can get flat.
You can get real low. Take the gun sideways. Take it all the way over sideways. Tighten it up. Where's it at?
Right there.
Do you think that there's a position that you could get into where you couldn't get it centered?
Probably not.
Okay? I'm gonna do something really, now, if this ever happens to you, you're screwed. You're in bad shape. But what I want you to give me your gun. I want you to turn around and put your head that direction. He's going to be shooting over his head. Center. Just tighten down.
Yep.
There it is. If we can center this dot by using that technique in this position, standing up, simple. But remember, it's just not always going to be above. It's not always going to be above. You're in a situation like this, it could come from any direction. But Mike can still point to the target. It's just not refined as much as you would like. And you refine it by tightening down. That'll center the dot, or at least center it enough you can see it in the window. Dot on target, press trigger. Okay? Any questions on that? We're going to bring up relay 2 and let you try. Thanks, Mike. You get on that.
How do you differentiate that from
dot's going to go. That's what I like when I was telling you guys it's a great training aid. I'll actually use it in dry fire, and I'll put it up there like that, and I'll watch. Because if you're doing something like that, it'll show up. But you're not worrying about recoil like you would be if you were live firing the gun. Again, even if you don't like it as a carry device, it's a wonderful training aid. This will make you a better shooter as far as your iron sights go, no doubt about it. I mean, the dot don't lie. Where the muzzle goes, so will the dot. The only problem is the dot has a very finite position to be in because it has to be in the screen, right? I mean, let's face it, I go like that, the dot's pointed over there. I go like that, it's pointed over here. What you want is you want it in the direction of the target. You can point at the target, you know that. All the dot does is tell you exactly where the muzzle's pointed. Any questions on that? So, you come up, you go like that, and it's not there, there it is. Now, one-handed. I haven't got a support hand, Dave, what do I do? Well, I'm not going to say that it's going to work as well because we all know we shoot better with two hands, don't we? Right? Yeah, we do. If you can get two hands on the gun, you should. But one-hand shooting with your primary hand only is very common. Fortunately, offhand only shooting is rare because we're not all that good at it, at least I'm not. So what do we have to do? We'll have to slide over so you can see. This is where the thumb is going to come in really important. A lot of people, when they go one-handed, they want to lock their thumb down like this. It's a bad mistake. Don't do it. I mean, if I hold my hand like this, and I do it real tight, do it along with me. Nice tight fist. Lock your thumb down. Okay, now without letting it go, point your thumb out. Come down. Did you feel it loosen up? But it's making a fist. If you keep your thumb flat like this, straight out like that, you can literally use that thumb to push into the side. So that when I come up, I get it, I want to refine it, I use the thumb. Remember, I'm only moving the dot about this far. So that thumb pressure, though it won't be as good as the support hand, it will center the dot, or at least get it in the window for you. So a reason why not to lock your thumb down. Plus, it allows you to get the other hand in there better. You're not having to get the thumb out of the way. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to work that presentation and centering that dot up. We like to call it refining the sight. Because you got it there. It's all on target. You're just not refining it. Cool? All right, good job. Let's relay 2, come on up.